who's hanging in there with me. I'm just very excited. This is my first episode of Womanists Gone Wild. And so just a background information about myself. My name is Shauna Shipley Gates, and I am a sexual health and wellness influencer, health educator, activist, speaker, writer, all of the above. And I just love to talk about sex positivity and celebrate everything that's healthy, unabashedly provocative, and luxurious when it comes to Black female sexuality. And I love to do it from a Black feminist perspective. So Cupcake Noire is for anybody who identifies as Black, as a woman or a femme, or they own a vulva, or they present themselves in a feminine manner, and they're constantly being judged by those hypersexual stereotypes. So that's all who encompasses my audience for Cupcake Noire. So that's that. Okay, so Womanists Gone Wild. Where did I come up with that? Well, first of all, I identify as a womanist. And so a womanist it was termed by Alice Walker, and it's a Black feminist who is committed to analyzing sexism in the Black community and racism in the feminist community, as well as acknowledging the contributions and abilities of Black women. And so I love to celebrate Black women. That's what the Muse Noir Monday is about, just highlighting the fabulousness that is a Black woman. And then, so I wanted to incorporate that to say, while we're doing that, we want to be able to go wild with it. Like, we're not being bound into the box that mainstream feminism wants to put us in. Right. So that's where that came from. Low key came from like Girls Gone Wild, and I was like, yeah, okay, to be a woman is gone wild.
Okay, all right.
But I don't know about the videos and all that stuff yet. Like, and there's going to be a lot of consent and like appropriate stuff. It's going to be
okay.
Okay. Okay. So
very much progressive, though.
Yes, very much. Okay, so now I want to introduce my first guest. I'm so excited. Miss Najjuwah Walden. Yay! So she's a disease intervention specialist and reproductive health educator serving women in the St. Louis metro region. She has designed and facilitated reproductive health education workshops and programs for women and girls who wish to address reproductive imbalances with nutrition and lifestyle changes. As a disease intervention specialist, the most common sexually transmitted infections, or STIs, she diagnosed among female patients were yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis. But many of the medications prescribed to patients didn't make a difference. Today, she educates sexually active women on the reproductive system and vaginal flora to eliminate and prevent recurring infections. So welcome, Najjuwah. So like a little bit of a background, so Najjuwah and I met, 2 years ago, like July 2017 in Denver at the National Sexual Health Conference.
Yeah.
Were we like in a session together, or were you like her posters were near each other?
No, our posters weren't near each other, but we were getting breakfast, and I saw your outfit, and I was like, your outfit's cute.
Oh, that's right.
You were like, thank you. Where are you from? And then we realized we were the only people from Missouri. And so we were like, we have to stay in contact, because like, even though you're on the other side of the state, like, we Black, we do the sexual health stuff, and we live in Missouri, like, we have to stay in contact.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so basically, I wanted to start out with something fun.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce what I call the Naughty Nine. So I'm going to end up sharing a word or a phrase, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay? Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
First word, orgasms.
Wet.
Okay.
Okay.
The color pink. The color pink.
Pussy.
All right. Mainstream feminism.
Titties.
All right. Self-love.
I see like herbs and bubble baths.
Okay, yes. STIs.
Don't want those.
Okay. Pleasure.
Good shit.
Okay. Rihanna.
BDSM.
Yes. Lube.
Slippery.
Okay. And last one. What's your favorite song for sex?
Wow. See, I'm one of those people that I don't listen to music when I'm having sex, so I have to think about, like, if I did, sex with me is the first thing that came to my mind.
Good.
Little vodka with a little bit of lemon, that's me.
Okay,
that would be the song. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So the rundown of Womanists Gone Wild is basically highlighting the three important pieces of the platform, which are promoting health, being able to be unabashedly provocative, and then luxurious. So the guest for today, you are under the health category. And so we'll be focusing on your expertise, which is reproductive health, the reproductive health system, and vaginal flora in order to eliminate, prevent reoccurring infections. So take it away, ma'am. We are at your
Ooh, I guess we can take it away and tie it into pleasure. I think just to add on to a little bit of the background, like we were at that conference because both of us were like in public health practice. And so like you've worked with a lot of clients who have had sexual health needs. And my focus wasn't necessarily on sexual health, but just on like STI control and prevention. And so, like I said in the bio, like I will always have these clients that will come back and forth. I would see them like on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And they will always tell me like, you know, I got tested, my partner got tested, I have symptoms. What are the symptoms? And I would tell them yeast infections. And so I wanted to know a little bit more about like why yeast infections are so prevalent amongst people who are not having protective sex. So like if you're not using a condom or any form of like contraceptive barrier method, why do you tend to have like more yeast infections than other people? And it got me into like the pH space. And I know like in 2019, people are always talking about pH and vaginal flora, but a lot of people don't understand like where that comes from and where that's tied to. And so if you have someone who has a diet or has an environment, a lifestyle that's different from yours, say they're like high stress, they're meat eaters, they smoke cigarettes, they like drink a lot of liquor, and you're someone who like you're vegan and you spend a lot of time not being stressed, and you find that like you have a calmer immune system, if you have sex with that person, their environment is coming inside of your environment and your environment is going to reject that. And so that rejection often looks like some form of infection, because infections are our body's responses to ward off anything that like seems foreign or ward off anything that doesn't belong. So like if you don't smoke cigarettes and somebody that smokes cigarettes is inside of you, your body is going to have like a fight or flight response where it's going to try to protect you from what those types of cells and what that type of tissue can do. And so I think it really is tied to pleasure, because it really gets me into talking to women about like, how do you establish autonomy to be able to say like how to decide whether or not somebody can have sex with you, right? So like there's a lot of people that might have real good sex and might look real fine, but if their lifestyle is not right, like are you going to allow them to contaminate you if you know that their environment will contaminate you? Okay, why not? And a lot of women just don't, I won't say that they don't have the confidence, but they're not always cognizant that like my pussy is the prize. And so I have a choice to say like this person can have sex with me or they can't. And if they're not going to have sex with me, it's because I feel like it's best for my body and it's best for my environment and it's best for my pleasure, because you can have the best sex of your life, but if afterwards you got a yeast infection, you can't have sex for 10 more days, sis.
Right, because I've had questions before. I went to a retreat and she was asking about, you know, why does she, and I've had a couple friends ask, like, well, how do you, or why is it I get yeast infections with certain people? You know, is it something that, you know, I'm doing, or is it something about that partner? You know, we always try to go straight to the condom or something, and you're saying it's something deeper.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
It's definitely something deeper. And then there's women who like aren't having sex. So like I feel like there's a spectrum. A lot of times I focus on women who are having sexual intercourse, but then there's a lot of other women who aren't. And so like think about your toys. Like a lot of times we don't think about the ways that we sanitize our toys before we use them. And so if you've had sex with yourself and then you put that toy down and then the next time you want to be able to have like self-pleasure, you use that same toy. Like think about all the bacteria and the germs that are on that. And then you also have to think about just lifestyle things like perfumes, fragrances, dyes. Like Summer's Eve is one of the worst things available on the market. But how many people actually know that? That like the product that is marketed to help us is actually the product that causes more harm. So like there will be women who use like the scented games and the scented fragrances. And then you have a yeast infection because your coochie is not supposed to smell like Hawaiian breeze.
Right.
It's just
Or
not.
love spell.
Exactly. It's not supposed to smell like none of that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good. All right. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to share them in the comments. We will, and then also, I forgot to mention that I actually created a private forum called Cupcake Noire Uncensored. So it's in my link in bio in the profile on Instagram. And so it's private, so you will have to join, and I will approve you as a member because we want to make sure we have a safe space.
Right.
And then we can continue the conversation. But if you don't feel comfortable posting questions up here, all right? All right. So thank you so much for that. What I wanted to do is now transition into the next category, which is being unabashedly provocative.
Okay.
And usually what happens with that is we just think automatically of just being just sexy. But we need to start at the basic level and talk about self-love first, because we can't be sexy unless we are practicing self-love.
Yeah.
So before I get into some of the tips that I've talked about, even in my 35 days of Cupcake Noire, I wanted to invite for you to share any tips you have as far as self-love, especially in your field or just in general that you like to practice. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think generally something that I've had to learn, because I feel like self-love is a journey, right? So a lot of times we have these aspirations, these goals, and it's like once we get to this point, it's been achieved. But I feel like for me, I'm always finding like new boundaries, new limits, new areas that I can achieve like higher self-love. And something that was brought to my attention a couple of years ago was the fact that I don't spend enough time like affirming myself and admiring myself because I don't look at myself. So like I'm one of those people, like I don't wear makeup. I can wake up and go the entire day and never look in the mirror, even if I'm in the bathroom and I'm washing my hands. And so like how does that take away from the time that I have throughout the day when I can admire myself simply by looking at myself and being like, ooh girl, look at that wrap. Ooh girl, I see how you did that. Look at you glowing, like things like that. So I ended up taking it even further than that because in my home I have like a lot of mirrors. So, like, when I go home, I get naked because I'm also, like, a nudist. And so I spend a lot of time, like, looking at myself being like, that's it. Like, you got it. And sometimes you need to do that. Like, sometimes we get so, like, emerged and submerged and, like, looking at popular culture, looking at Instagram, looking at Facebook, like, looking at everybody else and admiring everybody else and, like, who is admiring us? And, like, love starts with self first. And so if we're not spending a lot of time admiring ourselves and affirming ourselves, how do we know, like, whether or not we're appreciating when other people are affirming us or if we're just, like, lacking that affirmation because we're not giving it to ourselves?
Right. Great. That's awesome. Yes, it's interesting you say you used to not look into mirrors.
Thank you, Misha. Thank you, girl.
Because I can't tell. You playing all the time. That's good. That's good. Okay. So for me, I always, she said, Naj, you better look at your fine self.
She did. She did.
Okay, good. So for me, I want to talk about the fact that in order for us to be sexy or to feel like we can just be unabashedly, like unapologetically provocative, we have to make sure we practice self-love. And I love how you define what self-love is for you. I love Terry said, I'm getting naked today in the mirror right now. Thanks.
Do it, girl. Do it every day.
It's really, I mean, I have a robe on now, but I'm not like completely butt naked, but I'll like in my underwear or like a little nightie, something like no underwear, no bra. It feels so good.
Right.
Okay, anyway.
It does.
So making sure we define what self-love means for us. That's very important because I know a lot of people, especially in the wellness industry, want to define self-love for everybody else. And then for some reason, people still don't practice it. And I believe it's because they didn't define it for what it means to them.
Yeah.
So self-love to me, I mean, just me personally, it's like eating right, drinking a lot of water, taking care of myself mentally, saying no or saying yes at times when I'm fearful. So it encompasses all of those among other things.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, some tips on what to do. So plan out and schedule solo dates, trips, and things like that for yourself. I'm a grad student again, so I don't know if a trip is anytime soon, but I definitely make sure I take a couple hours of a day that I can like tend to just do whatever I want to do. Stand in the mirror naked, observing every single inch of your body. And that includes grabbing a pocket mirror and admiring every part of your cupcake or your vulva. And I say that because I say admire, I mean, because it is what you have. I mean, you can't change it. It's natural. Unless it's something that is problematic, it's harming you, it's affecting your health, then leave it alone and just admire for what it is. Practicing positive self-talk. So there's two ways to do that. So you have the reactive way, which is acknowledging any unhelpful thoughts to replace with a helpful one. And then you have a proactive way, such as like writing a love note about yourself and your body and then putting it somewhere you can put every day. I remember in high school, I used to always put something in my locker or like in my room or mirror where I can pass by it every day. I even have my vision board where it's like I have to walk past it every day. So it's just reminding me of things that I'm trying to accomplish, and I have to practice self-love to get them accomplished. All right, now this is where you come into play as well. So scheduling much needed health appointments. So as far as medical appointments, that includes, women's exams, mammography, especially it being, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but we need to keep focusing on this every month, every day. Dentist appointments, that was been my thing, especially this past year. I conquered my fears and took care of it.
I'm glad. I'm proud of you. I'm so glad.
I was scared, but I got it done. Okay, so what about, I'm also thinking about all these screenings, like STI screenings and stuff like that. I know I have a heavy HIV prevention background, and so I'm always trying to promote getting tested for everything. And there should not be any stigma around STIs. No. You can get rid of majority of them, and the ones you cannot, people still live lives that are, they're still full of
flourishing,
and and they still have pleasurable sex. It's possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so then mental health, making sure that we are engaging in therapy or journaling, or we have someone we can confide in, any of those type of things to stay healthy mentally. And then I added a spiritual component, and I say spirituality, not just religion, whatever it is that you practice or don't practice. The point is that you're engaging your spirituality to help you through, because a lot of people rely on their spirituality for their mental health as well. Okay. All right. One of my favorites, because that's why I asked you what your favorite song is on music. I love music, period. I love to study with it. I love to have sex with it. So that's why I talk about it.
Okay.
Creating a soundtrack that represents your self-love. So what would be a song you can think of that you'd add on your soundtrack? Like if you're just like needing a moment, because you're in a PhD program as well.
I feel like Jill Scott, You Love Me.
Yes.
That's me. But that's like my self-love song to myself.
Good.
Yes.
So taking the time out to create a soundtrack so you can hit that play button whenever you need to. And I even recommend creating a soundtrack for self-pleasure as well. A lot of people say, I love to play a song or these songs or this album when I'm having sex with somebody else. But when you're having sex with yourself, creating that soundtrack. Self-pleasure is considered self-love as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, a closet cleanse. This is important because, first of all, you have things in there you don't wear, whether it's because you lost weight, gained weight, whatever the issue is, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. If you're not going to wear it anymore, get rid of it. Okay. It will improve your self-love if you right now. So whether it's if it's bad or a good thing as to whether you lost or gained weight, just get rid of those clothes because get rid of those clothes because it will just keep holding on. You'll keep holding on to it and just thinking like, oh, one day I'll fit into it again, or I paid a lot of money for it, or whatever the case may be. It may have a sentimental value. Somebody bought it for me. Just get rid of it if it doesn't bring self-love. And then when you're getting rid of things, that means you also want to treat yourself to some things. So that includes lingerie. By the way, your closet includes your underwear as well. Please get rid of ratty underwear. that you've had for a while. First of all,
it's not cute.
And it's not cute.
It's just not cute.
And get underwear that looks good for yourself.
Yes.
I committed to matching my bra and panties years ago, and I do it to this day. Like, I refuse to separate things out, but that's because it's important to me no matter who looks at it.
Right.
Your social media, cleansing your social media. I think I've even had a conversation with, speaking of my sister, she just joined, my sister before and some other people about how some people have had to have like a social media hiatus. And I could never seem to understand that because I guess personally, I only follow people or let people follow me who improve my self-love.
Exactly. You have to go through that.
Right. So I think that's probably why I don't understand. I think I just took the initiative. Like, as soon as I joined Cupcake Noire, I'm blocking people who are against anything that I'm standing for and trying to push forward. And vice versa, I don't follow them. I've had to unfollow people who I've realized have been toxic and I've been holding on because of history, or I just admire their work or anything. Right. I noticed that they're probably a shitty person outside of social media, and therefore I removed them. Shout out to Candace. We had a conversation about that. So yeah, I encourage, like, even today, getting ready 3 to 5 people, profiles. Like that today. Like, do that today. Okay, treating yourself to cupcake maintenance. So that's allowing yourself to go bare a lot more. Like I said, purchasing new underwear, avoiding sensitive washes. So this all goes back to what Naj was mentioning earlier. Not washing the inside of your vagina, because I know that adds to the bacterial vaginosis as well. And what people forget too, which was a tip that I was told, is that you can even exfoliate and moisturize your bikini area. Like, you can treat that area the same way you do the rest of your body. I think people forget that, and it feels pretty damn amazing. So practice that a little more. Right. Okay, I have a slogan that I think I'm going to put on a t-shirt. Okay. Make bedroom sexy again. What do you think about that?
I like it.
Okay, so I like it. Bedroom, what do you say?
I like it. I mean, I feel like we should talk about it a little bit more, because I was having this conversation recently, and it might not be like the same connotation, but I think that there is a debate in the field of sexuality of, like, is it sexy or is it not successful? Like, if you are engaging in sex and you don't have an orgasm, like, what happens whenever you're doing what you do? You have your foreplay, you have your anal play, you have whatever play, and then no orgasms happen. And so, like, what would be, I guess, the goal of making a bedroom sexy? What does a bedroom that's sexy look like to you?
Okay. So some tips, really, especially based off of feng shui. Making sure we are decluttering it, rearranging our furniture, or purchasing new furniture if we need to. Like, if you still have your mattress on the floor, or it's, you've been waiting for that. If it works for you, that works for you. But I'm just saying, if it's not, then handle that.
Right.
I'm serious.
You're right.
Removing a TV or adding it, whatever you think is important. Like, for me, I need that TV gone. It is gone.
Yeah. I can't do the TV in the bedroom.
Purchasing new sheets every so often.
Changing sheets.
Right. That too, yes. Yes, absolutely. But, like, anything that will just make your bedroom feel sexy, because that could the environment could even be a reason as to why an orgasm, if that was what was trying to be reached, is probably not happening as well. Right. And just little things like adding candles, flowers, adding mirrors, essential oils, because smell could be an issue. Yes, washing those pillowcases. That's pretty important.
Please.
Right. Okay. And then it's interesting because I've actually talked before about being careful with certain, like, lubes in your sheets. So keeping that in mind as well. If you're a person that loves to use all types of different lubes, and making sure that incorporate that into your sheets as well, so you're not feeling later on like, crap, I shouldn't have bought these sheets. I got XY lube all over it. Okay, now, also exercising, nutrition, and drinking a lot of water. That all contributes to self-love for sure. It takes care of the physical body. Your skin will start glowing. You'll feel better inside and out. And then going back to the soundtrack piece, or really practicing self-pleasure. Like, people don't realize that is a form of self-love.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you are practicing all the other tips that I just talked about, self-pleasure will just seem more pleasurable. You'd feel like you are engaging enough self-love to want to please yourself. It's like you're congratulating yourself, you're celebrating yourself. So yes, incorporate all of that into your self-love.
Amen.
All right. Again, any questions around self-love, please post. And again, you could join us in the private forum, Cupcake Noire Uncensored, which is in my profile and link in bio. You can add, it's private. I will have to add you. I'm not playing any games. It's supposed to be a safe space, okay? All right, now moving on to luxurious. Luxury, okay? Do you have any tips or any products that you recommend that we could share in the forum later, related to vaginal health and luxury or reproductive health?
I would. I mean, I'm definitely like a kitchen sink practitioner. So anytime I'm talking to somebody about pleasure, I'm talking about natural things that they can do and use that you probably eat or you can store and use to make your cake and then also put it on your cupcake. So as far as like, we have oil-based lubricants, but you can also just use like oils for lubricants. And this is not just like for the genitalia. I think this is really good for like massage oil. I think this is really good for like when I'm moisturizing my body, if I just want to be a little bit extra and like do oil instead of my regular shea butter baby. So you can do like coconut oil, which people love. And also hemp oil is really good. And if you look at a lot of the like CBD or THC based lubricants, a lot of them have hemp oil in it, but you want something that's like really fatty so it's not going to dry up on you, but you don't need nothing like Crisco fat where you end up having like grease in between your labia. That's not cute. We don't need fried chicken coochie.
No.
I think those two are really good.
Fried chicken coochie.
Fried chicken coochie. We don't need no grease in between the wings. Okay. Those two are really good. Avocado oil is also really good. Like grapeseed oil, anything that's going to be like really rich in omega-3s because it's going to be good to your skin and it's going to be really good as a lubricant. I think for water-based lubricants, I do not suggest that you do sexual intercourse in the water. I tell people that all the time because it washes away your body's natural lubricants. So you end up just like chafing skin, which can end up being really uncomfortable. Right. But arrowroot flour is really good. I use that to make water-based lube, and you can make it as thick as you want. Just get you some like distilled water, some arrowroot flour, and you get a whole package, and you're going to have like lube for 2 years. So to me, those are some like natural things that you can use for intercourse, but also if you just want to do like some body play.
Okay, so definitely share that flour that you're referring to in the private forum, and maybe some tips on how to mix it, like some ratio of this and that. Absolutely. All right, okay, good. So what I wanted to talk about was tying a little bit too into reproductive health and luxury. Please throw away your period panties. Like, what are your thoughts on period panties? Okay,
you know,
hold on. So we have a question by Ashley. So is it safe to assume what works on your skin works for your cupcake as well?
Not necessarily. I mean, our skin is like our hair. I like to say that like the texture of your skin will vary just like the different forms of follicle that you have on your head. So I would always say like pay attention to the labels, especially if you're purchasing these products. I make a lot of my own products, so I know what's being put in it. But if it's anything that has alcohol in it, don't use it. If it has a fragrance in it, don't use it. If it has a dye in it, don't use it. And if you can't pronounce it, or if you can't spell it on your own, like, don't use it. Now, if you are using, like, coconut oil on your body, you can use coconut oil as a lubricant. But you want as few ingredients as possible so your body isn't reacting to, like, the sensitive products. Because that's what it'll really react to. It's not going to react to the oil as much as it's going to react to the additives that are in that oil. So just read the label.
And I have to say, as an AIDS prevention person, and you'll appreciate this as well, she's referring to, you know, sex that's obviously in a, like, consensual,
absolutely,
everybody's been checked out type of relationship. So so basically there's no condom use being there, because oils will actually break down condoms.
Not with condoms.
If you are going to have sex with a condom, do not use the oils, stick with the water-based.
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. So that's wanted to make sure that we talk about that because there are like married couples out there who I've heard like, oh, we love coconut oil, and people are like, I'm confused. I thought I'm supposed to use oil. It's like
exactly. You have to know the rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really big to know.
No, condoms and oil do not mix. So I wanted to make sure I gave that disclaimer.
Okay, sure.
So
period.
That's what I was talking about. No period panties. I don't understand. This is part of self-love. Like, are we really that ashamed of our periods? We're punishing ourselves with holy, faded granny panties that have former period stains. First of all, that's not sanitary and that's not sexy. And you can't love yourself. Am I?
Girl, you are passionate. You are very passionate.
I am passionate. I have to be passionate. I wear whatever the damn underwear I feel like wearing. That's just what it is. And sometimes I don't even.
That's how I feel.
That's just what it is. Like, but that's the thing. Because I even partners would be like, oh, let's get the period panties on. Like, what? No, get rid of the period panties. That's part of the closet cleanse. Throw those out.
No, I don't like period panties. I feel like it is a part of shame because it's kind of like my period. You're going into your period like it's gonna be messy. Like this is gonna be all over the place. So like since it's just gonna mess stuff up, let me put on these drawers that are already messed up, so I don't mess up some new ones. But I feel like your attitude. I feel like for me, like I'm way too old to just be out here like bleeding on my drawers and planning to bleed on my drawers. Like I do understand that sometimes accidents happen, surprises happen, especially for those of us who don't have any type of menstrual cramps. Like your period could just come out of nowhere and you just got it. But I think that you should wear like what makes you sexy, because for me, like when I put on those granny panty drawers, not the ones with holes in them or stains in them, like it doesn't make me feel sexy. Like I'm bloated, so I kind of look like pregnant, and it's like covering a lot of my booty, and I like my booty. So I just wear what makes me feel sexy. I understand that like different people also have different flows, right? So like I'm blessed to be one of those people where my cycle is only on for like 3 to 4 days and it's really light. So like I can do the cup and then I can wear some nice underwear, or not wear underwear at all, because I typically don't wear underwear. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But if you do have like a heavier flow and you have to wear like a pad and a tampon, or a pad and a cup, or just a pad, like just make sure they're as attractive as they can be, because like how you approach your period will be like how your period approaches you, right? So if you think it's going to be messy, if it's not going to be good, when you stain them drawers like you planned on, it's not going to lead to like a positive experience. So if you plan on keeping your drawers clean, typically they end up cleaner. And throw them out like if they get messed up, because you can buy new underwear. There's not a shortage of underwear stores.
And you should be buying new underwear every so often anyway. So the comment being made, you don't want to, people don't want to mess up the good stuff too, and I understand that. But I use black soap for everything, like my face, body, everything. And black soap gets blood out for me. So,
and also cold things. So like wash in cold water.
Yeah.
You can do black soap. I use Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. But then also I know people who are like, I know it's gonna stain, like it happens. I'm 30 years old, it's happened every single time. Do black drawers. I feel like sexy black drawers are better than like your nude, tattered, look like it has stains in it type drawers. So if you do stain them, at least like it doesn't look like there's been any type of accidents in the past. But once you got holes in them, like let go of the holes and definitely let go of the ones that are like apparent stains. Because what's going to happen, this is how I think about it. What's going to happen when you get to the end of your underwear, you don't feel like doing laundry, and all you got left is period drawers. What type of drawers would you want in a drawer? You got to think about it that way.
And you got a hot date coming up. Or you just feel like being sexy.
You finna put on the period drawers?
Yep.
Are you going to put on those period drawers with the stains in them? I hope not.
That's what I'm saying. You won't, because you're throwing them out during the closet cleanse. They're gone.
Just throw them out.
Okay, so then you were mentioning, like, different types of soaps and washes. I think it's important that we're investing in these products so that we can experience more self-love as well.
Yeah.
So I heard you even say you use Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap as well. You were mentioning obviously some products to stay away from, like Summer's Eve.
Yeah.
I was mentioning Black Soap even. What do you feel about like companies like Vagisil even? Because I went to the Blog Her Health conference and they had this whole product launch.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on other companies besides Summer Eve, or do they all come in together?
I think they all come in together in a way that they're trying to like adhere to popular culture and also like make money at the same time. Because regardless or not, if you say that you're going in a direction that's supposed to be better for women's health, I'm still going to look at the list of ingredients. Like, I'm still going to look at what you put in your products.
Right.
And if it has alcohol in it, if it has fragrances in it, if it has dyes in it, if it has things where I can't pronounce it and I know there's synthetic chemicals, I'm not going to use it. But a lot of times, anything that's mass distributed, like Vagisil, like Summer's Eve, which is all over the world, you end up with these terrible ingredients because they're really just trying to meet the demand. And so I have no really like negative things to say about y'all getting y'all money, because everybody needs to get their coin. So they corner the market. They know that people want a product. They know they will go to Walmart. They'll go to Target to get it. And so they have, you know, the rows stocked up with their product to be purchased. But I think that if you're really invested in your health, like I say, like the kitchen sink method is the thing for me. I think the number one ingredient that a lot of people use is like Castile soap. I think we definitely went away from a lot of the like traditional ingredients that you use. If you get you some Castile soap, add whatever type of essential oils that you want in like a curry oil, and that can pretty much be what your routine is. I think it's important to know that like we don't need to clean the inside of our vaginas. That's always a question that I get. Like, what do I do about douching? Like, if I can't use these products to cleanse my vagina, can I use these products to douche it? Nothing should be going inside of your vagina, especially not any type of like alcohol or any type of vinegar, because
Right.
all it is going to mess up your flora, it's going to mess up your environment, and then it's going to make you more susceptible to a yeast infection. So you do the douche and then you have this odor, and then you're like, I'm gonna douche again, and then you still have the odor, and you're really like killing all the good bacteria
Right.
inside of your vagina. So like, I do Dr. Bronner's. A lot of people like the Honest Company, but I'm not necessarily like a fan of one particular product. I think you should just pay attention to the ingredients, like as few ingredients as possible. And the reason why I like Dr. Bronner's is because there's like less than 5 ingredients to me that don't look like they would be natural, and then the ingredients that do look synthetic, they're actually not. So I just do a really good job at reading. And I love the fact that they have essential oils that are like really good for bacteria. So like the Dr. Bronner's with tea tree, like we know tea tree is a natural infection healer. So like if you have a yeast infection or if you have bacterial vaginosis, a lot of times I tell my clients to like just get the Dr. Bronner's with the tea tree, make sure you wash twice a day outside of the vagina. And then like 2 or 3 days later, they're telling me that they've pretty much like killed all the bacteria on the outside. And then staying hydrated, and that'll fix it. Like you don't need the cream. You don't need any of those things that are typically available over the counter.
Right, and I think I appreciate all of this, because I think that's what we are constantly being told. Like, we're supposed to buy all these luxurious products, and
yeah,
you know, they cost a lot of money, and there's even brands that are like branching out into it, like even like brands that do sex toys, but then they also branch out into that field as well. It's almost like what was the point? So I'm glad to hear an expert give us tips on that. So basically, being luxurious when it comes to your reproductive health, I mean, you can just be natural, use natural products. So I definitely want to make sure you add all these tips that you mentioned, Naj, if you can remember all of them, into the private forums so people can read them later.
For sure. Because
I think that's very important. Now, before we move on from that, speaking of natural products and feeling luxurious, what do you feel about vaginal steaming? I mean, I've been trying to do my own research. I have someone that asked me before, and we're even possibly going to try it, just to say we have, I guess. But like, what are the benefits? Does it really work? Like all that stuff.
Ooh, good question. This is typically, hey Derek. It's really common for people to ask me about. They ask me about douching, and then they ask me about vaginal steaming. And I will say that vaginal steaming is recognized and definitely accepted like Eastern medicine, Eastern practice, and it does help because all it is a form of like stimulating all of the red blood cells and it's stimulating a lot of your tissue. So it helps expunge a lot of bacteria, a lot of infections. And it really just helps the tissue form. And so if you need it to be a little bit tighter, a little bit firmer, so on and so forth, that's available with vaginal. I also want to say that, like, everybody can boil water. Everybody does not know how to cook. And so I would not say that, like, anybody can be their own, like, vaginal practitioner, because there is art to it. Like, there is a particular way in which it's supposed to be done, like the temperature, how much water you have, what type of water you have, what you sit on, what the combination of herbs are, like when you actually can do the herbs. Like, there is a science to it, whether or not you're in the, like, luteal phase, if you're in the menstrual phase, like, because sometimes you can do it wrong. And so I tell people that if you want to do it on your own, because it can be really expensive for you to go to a practitioner, do research on the herbs, and you can get that same effect either by doing it internally. So, like, you can use the vaginal blend and make it into a tea, or you can put it in your bath and, like, put it in shallow water, nothing that's too hot. Like, if you put it in and it's like you can burn your vagina. Okay, so don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But put it in the bath and, like, sit in the bath for like 15 minutes, and it'll have the same effect. So, like, some people prefer the steam because it is faster. Like, the penetration is a lot more intense because the steam is directly on top of your vagina. Like, if you're immersing in the water, like, you have the tea and you have the warmth, but it takes a little bit more time for it to penetrate, and so you tend to have to do it more often in the bath. And then if you do the tea, like, you have to drink the tea 3 times a day. And so the intensity and the frequency depends on, like, the type of method you do. But there are alternative ways to technically vagisteam without actually doing the steaming. But if you have access to a practitioner, if you have access to someone, like, who would consider themselves not only, like, an expert but also trained in vagisteaming, like, ask them if they do it, ask them, like, who their clients have been, because it is really helpful. Like, it helps people with a lot of, like, polycystic ovary syndrome symptoms. It helps people with a lot of infections, with menstrual cramps. It does help a lot of people who experience, like, scarring because of untreated STIs. It helps people in order to, like, get rid of scarring if they want to get pregnant. So there are some, like, recognized benefits of it. But like I said, everybody can't boil water. And
right.
So if you would not consider yourself a practitioner, like, entertain the other routes, like immerging it in bath water or doing just the tea.
So what I'm hearing is basically, okay, so I have a friend that actually just bought some veg steaming herbs. And so I think that's important. I mean, she knows how to boil water because she can cook her ass off. But
right.
But like you said, it's not just that. It's like timing of it, like in particular cycles, and if that's the blend she should be using at that particular time. There's a lot more into it. Okay.
Exactly.
So I take a note here. If there's any resources that you know that people could read, in order, because 9 times out of 10, someone's gonna probably want to do it at home. They don't have access to or the funds to go to a practitioner. I think that'd probably be helpful.
Okay.
Well.
Okay.
Okay. So we just got done talking about how to be luxurious with our reproductive health, including from throwing away your period panties to vag steaming. I now want to close out before we go into questions by talking about the hot topic of the episode.